Welcome to RealTalk with KMG. Today we're going to talk about what you should be looking for in a real estate agent, right? So I think a real estate agent should definitely be more than somebody that just opens doors. So
Right.
this weekend we were showing houses to some first-time home buyers, and they definitely had in their mind what they wanted, which of course we always do. Sit down with clients, ask them, what are you looking for in your dream house, right? But what I think is important that a real estate agent should do that a lot of agents don't do is look at it from a non-emotional aspect.
Right. Because a lot of times these home buyers, first-time home buyers, whoever, they're coming in looking for exactly what they want, and they see what could be, but then they're overlooking some of these major details that maybe their eyes are just not trained to see because, it's something you see every single day.
Right.
Or they're just glazed over because they're like, oh my God, we're looking at a house.
So excited. And I don't even think that that's isolated to first-time home buyers, to be honest with you. But we are saying first-time home buyers because this was the specific case that kind of initiated this podcast, right? So do you want to tell them kind of like what we were looking at this weekend or?
Yeah, so this weekend we, like she said, first-time home buyers, we were out showing this property that they had found that they really liked the idea. There was land, there was a pond, it kind of fit those needs as far as size and whatnot. However, there was just a couple of, would you say cosmetics, maybe?
Well, there's definitely cosmetics, but I think there was some pretty major flags that now, you and I are not structural engineers.
Right.
We're not, not plumbers, electricians, any of those things. But I think, I've sold enough homes. You have a background where you've kind of dealt in this industry where we're, like you said, trained where it triggered these things. And I think that's where a real estate agent comes in because we're not going to live there. Right. So we're not emotionally attached to this property when we pull up, and we're not like, oh, this is what I want is land. And that's fantastic, right?
Right.
But we were able to see some of these things that they weren't.
So how do you balance going in and being, not being cold-hearted and being like, oh, this house needs help, but also being like, oh, you're right, like you could live here. Where is that line?
That balance.
I feel like it's a very thin line.
It is a very thin line, and I think in this case, exactly what I did, right, is I pointed them out to them, and our job as real estate agents is to point them out and then put them in contact with professionals that we know and trust.
Right.
I definitely let them know, like, hey, if we go under contract, let's do a low enough due diligence that during that period we're going to have a structural engineer come in because that's his lane. That's what he's good at, right? I don't know if that house has structural issues, right? Because I'm not qualified to say that. Have I seen enough houses and sold enough houses to where that's going to raise some flags and I'm going to recommend them? Absolutely, right? So that's kind of what I did, and let them know these are the costs before you go under, because a structural engineer is a good $1,500 just to come out.
Yeah, it's not
and
cheap.
he takes that before he steps foot on the property, right? So I think that's our job, is to more see those things, see those red flags, and put them in touch. That house didn't work out. Which I think was a blessing. So then you fast forward a few days later, and I'm showing them a few more properties, and just based on kind of price point and what they wanted, the land in the house, we got excited about another house, and the husband's out looking at the land, and the wife's in the house, and this house was pretty. Right, it had been flipped, and
nice.
It was nice. Yeah, kitchen was pretty updated. And she's in the house talking to me about, the baby that's going to come hopefully in a year.
Right.
And as I'm sitting here talking to her, my mind is looking at all the things that could possibly go wrong with the house.
Okay, so could it accommodate, those future family, the baby, and the running and playing and all of that?
Exactly. Well, and not only that, but okay, so what if an HVAC goes out? Right? What if the roof needs to be replaced? Or I'm already seeing some rotted siding on the house.
Okay.
And these are expenses that once you buy the house, you own. And so my goal as a real estate agent is to help you build wealth through real estate.
Can you explain how that works?
What that looks like? Absolutely. Like, of course, I want you to have your home that you build your family with, and that's, the emotional side to it. But my goal is your return on investment is what you get from your down payment. Okay, so say you buy a $400,000 house and you put 10% down. Okay, that's your investment in that house, is your down payment, that 10%.
Right.
Now in 4 to 5 years when we sell your house, whatever your house has increased and your profit that you make is based off of that 10% that you put down.
Okay.
My goal is to build your wealth based on increasing your cash value from that 10% that you've put in.
So how would them buying a fixer-upper, as it sounds like the first one was, versus the nicer, flipped, ready,
turnkey house? Yep. So, if we're buying a house that has some issues or some potential red flags, right, they're going to put all of their money down that they've saved into that house. And if something goes wrong in the next couple of years, they just might not have the cash for it. And so in my mind, my concern for this family was, we have what we call a wealth accumulator, okay? And so the best way to build wealth is through your primary investment. And that's taking a home and purchasing a home at least 3 times what you make. Okay, and then you want to be maxing out your 401k from your employer because that's free money essentially.
Right.
The other thing is we want to make sure that we have at least $25,000 in reserves. Okay, and then we want to be putting money in the stock market. S&P 500 is a pretty safe bet if you don't know anything about investing in the market. My concern with going in the direction of purchasing a home that's going to need a lot of work, especially for your first home, is one, we're taking out one of those quadrants, right? Like we might not be able to have that $25,000 in reserves. If we're talking of having a family coming down the road, kids are expensive.
Yeah.
Right? I want you to be able to have a date night with your family. I don't want you cash poor. And my goal to help you build wealth through real estate is being able to have a home that, I want you to have that home on a few acres, whatever that dream home is, but maybe it's your 3rd or 4th home.
Yeah,
because
so it's not the first one.
Correct. We take your money that you've saved, we put it on a down payment, 4 or 5 years, we have a good solid house that doesn't need those emergency repairs. We sell that. Now we've doubled your down payment, tripled your down payment. We pull that cash out, put it in a bigger house. You take some of that equity, throw it in the stock market.
Yeah.
Right? And so now you've got money growing in the stock market and money growing in your new house, because we know that as you put, 10% down on your new house, that equity is going to grow. So now your cash is growing in your new house and your stock market. So I think that you need to have an agent that is going to help you build wealth and not just open a door to get a commission check.
Do we see a lot of those out there? A bunch personally.
Don't ask a question you know the answer to.
Right, they're everywhere.
We could have thrown them in that house and had a closing in a hot minute. Right. They would have trusted us. They signed with us, and I talk clients out of homes all the time. And I don't want to say talk them out of it, but I point things out that I think that they need to be aware of.
I think in this industry we have to be real, because if we're not, people can turn around and, oh, you missed this, you didn't tell us this was there, and then we can get in trouble. So how do you show to other people? Because everybody's like, oh, you're a realtor, right? You're skeevy.
Oh, 100%.
What do you do
that's
to
different.
Show that you're not?
Yeah, and I hate that we have that reputation, but I think it's fairly earned. Sadly.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, because I agree. Most realtors that I've met, I'm like, oh, you don't care about anybody but yourself.
They don't. It's those 5-minute listing appointments and, never meet in person. Have a buyer that they never meet in person to do their buyer consults with, right? How can you truly serve your clients if you never meet in person?
You don't know them.
You don't know them. You don't know their needs, and you're not explaining to them the process, right? So what we do that's different is one, we don't have a scarcity mindset. And I don't mean that to sound cocky, but we sell enough that we can push a closing into the next month. We don't push our clients into, we have to close. We do what's best for our client. And that could be not closing on a home this month if it's, let's wait for the perfect home, or a home that fits their needs.
Yeah.
Perfect example, we have some long-term clients that have bought and sold numerous homes with us, and they asked me, hey, Kimberly, when should we list this house? I looked at the numbers, looked at the data, looked at where we're at, and I told her, as much as I'd love your listing right now, let's wait a few months.
Right, just because of the season.
because of the season, because of the way that the specific neighborhood is, because of the way the specific market is. If I would have told them to list today, they probably would have, because they trust me.
Right.
But to me, it's more important to have the relationship and the trust in them than it is to have that commission check, because I want them to come back to me. I want them to refer their friends. I want to build wealth for their family through real estate. And that's our goal. Same thing with buyers. You know, I want, listen, if a buyer's going to buy a house and they're adamant about it, there's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
But I feel like our job, one, is to stay in our lane. Agents don't stay in their lanes.
Yeah.
Right? But our job,
everything.
yeah, our lane is to put them in contact with as many structural engineers, electricians, professionals, and mitigate their loss. Right. So for example, on this house, we did write up a contract on it, but we made the due diligence very low and explaining to them it's education.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
Should you choose to go down this road, this is who you need to have come inspect the house, get their professional opinions. You can back out, but this is what it's going to cost you to go down this road, and this is when we need to back out, and this is what it's going to cost you to back out. It's their decision, not ours. I'm not going to live there.
That's true. Yeah.
Right? So I'm not going to fall in love with that house because it's not what I want, but it's what they want. But they need to be able to go into it with eyes wide open.
Yeah, they need to know what they're getting themselves into, essentially, which
Correct.
we can't give them that answer exactly,
No.
which is why we've got the arsenal of people ready for them.
100%. And case, being told, I bought my personal house 2 years ago in March. I didn't use an agent. That was one of the biggest mistakes I made.
Even as an agent?
As an agent.
Okay.
100%. Next time I buy and sell a house, I will use an agent. Whether it be you as you grow, or one of my close personal friends that I trust. And I'll tell you why. It is such an emotional process.
Yeah.
And I was buying and selling a house at the same time. And of course I thought I could do it myself. I'm like one of the best,
Save
right?
some money, get a really high quality realtor.
100%, right? But looking back, I missed so many things on my house that I would have never let a client miss.
Just because you had that emotional glaze.
100%. I had my kids, single mom, I'm balancing it. I got emotionally attached to the house. I remember when the agent called me to tell me, they had accepted my offer. I don't cry. I don't cry.
I've never seen you cry. No, I wouldn't say you do.
Yeah, I don't. I literally cried. I called my lender and I was like, oh my God, they accepted my offer. She was so excited for me.
Yeah.
But I missed so much.
Right.
And it's costing me money now.
Okay.
It is literally costing me money that would have been less had I paid a realtor in commission. So I will never buy and sell a house again without an agent. Not being me. Because you get emotionally attached.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard when you walk in, you're like, oh,
yeah,
to see all of those little things that are very important.
Very important. Yeah. So that's our advice. Hire an experienced agent. Hire an agent that is helping you build wealth. That's our goal. Our goal is your money, other people's money. That's what we want, you to build wealth through real estate.
Well, I think it's important to just hire somebody that cares, and that doesn't necessarily mean your sister or your brother or your cousin that just got their license. Yes, they care about you, they do. But are they really emotionally detached as well?
Well, emotionally detached and educated. Right? I mean, it takes time to learn the industry. It takes time to learn the contracts. It takes time and experience to learn. Every contract we learn something new. Right?
That's true.
And don't think that I don't know what I'm dealing with in an experienced agent on the other side.
You can always tell.
100%.
We always know.
And I'll wipe them under the table.
That's a good thing.
For my client.
Yeah, right, true.
Right?
Maybe not their client, but your client.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for the advice.
No, thank you. I appreciate you. All right, let us know what questions you guys have for us or what you want us to talk about, and we'll see you next week.